Gary,
hey,
my man, thank you for joining me today for the podcast.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. I'm so excited to have you today because you're not a normal realtor, right? Like you do different stuff. Primarily, you are, I would say, I would call you primarily an investor. Would you say that's true?
That's accurate, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So much to talk about. Now, you're not originally from Florida, correct?
No, I moved down here just a shade under 2 years ago. I was from New York, and I lived in New Jersey, right outside Manhattan, for about 9 years before I moved down here.
Awesome. So it's like a little bit of culture shock, right?
A little bit, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think you share a little bit of my same frustration. Being from Chicago, the construction world is totally different down here. It's a little bit of the Wild West.
To say the least, yeah.
To say the least, right?
Absolutely.
And so I've had trouble as an investor, and we kind of talked about this on the way over. It's tough to find like great tradespeople, right? Like there's such a shortage right now in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So tell me about some of those struggles. I mean, we shared some war stories on the way over here about just losses. Because it's like, if you're doing regular real estate, you can burn a little time, but if you're an investor, you can burn time and lose money, right?
For sure. Yeah, you're kind of under the gun. Right. Depending on how you structure it, there's always holding costs, taxes, insurance. And if you have a loan against it, especially a higher interest investor geared loan, it depletes profits really fast.
Right.
So some of the struggles, and it's everywhere in the country, but down here it seems to be a lot worse, to be honest, is it's really hard to find good help, contractors, subcontractors. It's been a struggle. And where I find is, if you don't get the quality ones that, and I don't mean quality like they're doing custom homes. I mean somebody who's going to be reliable, show up, do what they're going to say they're going to do,
show up,
and
right?
Not steal from you.
Right.
There are out there that are priced reasonably for an investor, but as an investor, you have to, you need to pay for quality work, but you can't overpay like somebody who's in retail because you have margins. So you either have to pay through the nose to get somebody who's really that much of a quality, reliable source,
sure,
or you have to be very creative and 1 in a million, you find the contractor that you can really work with who will understand your basic business needs and price appropriately. Or what I've been doing more is either hiring project managers or trying to manage the project myself and hire individual subs.
Yes.
Which is a challenge too, because they have the same type of problems that you get from the general contractor, but at least you have a little bit more control over the situation. You're hiring them directly.
Yep.
So you can control it a little bit more, and you pay them if they don't do the work. You have a little more control over what leaves your account. But it is tough. It's not easy.
What do you think has been the biggest, so I had a contract a couple years ago. Guy literally took 40 grand, ripped a house apart, and just left. Yeah. I mean, what's your biggest loss in that vein? Give me your worst horror story on the construction side of things.
All right. So I bought a house in Tampa, sight unseen. However, I got an inspection. I was still living in New Jersey. I was about a month and a half away from moving down here. So I knew I was going to move down here. I went down. I saw a bunch of properties. I didn't find anything that was proper for me. I went back up. I had an agent that worked with me. She found me a property. It was in a really good area, Seminole Heights in Tampa, hot area, just the best section of it. I bought it, I think, for $230.
Nice.
It needed a lot of work, but I had an inspector, and he warned me about it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We priced it right. We know we had a really high after repair value. So I brought a contractor in that was recommended by the agent. I even vetted them. He had a fake license, a fraudulent license. He took just straight out of our pockets, basically, through just fake work. He did 2 projects with us at the same time.
Of course.
Yeah, about 50 grand.
Yep.
But in total, with other things, he hired a tree company to pull a tree down, and the tree fell on the roof, caved in about 400 square feet of the house.
Oh, my God.
We ended up selling the house to another investor that we work with. We lost.
At a loss.
At a huge loss.
Of course.
We got insurance money back, maybe $50,000, but we lost, I think in total 120 grand, honestly, 125.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm still making payments to my business partner periodically. I worked out a good deal where it stretches it out.
Yep.
But we got hosed. And
you got hammered.
And we bought it right.
Yep.
We got inspections. The fact that it was sight unseen was not an issue. I had it all covered.
Yep.
We did everything we could. It's just sometimes things it's very labor dependent. And if they screw you,
it is. It's so hard, right? Like I always tell people who want, I mean, you're like living like so many people's dream. Like how many people tell you like, oh, I wish I could flip houses, and like it's more like a nightmare, isn't it?
I mean, it's a good business, and it can work for you. I don't want to discourage people, but it's not as easy as it looks. Like I watched,
it's not like the shows, right?
I watched the shows. I actually watched one the other day on 4th of July. I went to my parents who just moved down here, and I started watching. Like from an investor's perspective, who's been in it, it's really interesting to see the shows because they leave a lot out, and they either have false drama just to give, I guess, to boost the ratings, or they make it look really easy. It's one or the other normally. I mean, some accuracies, but they leave out costs, commissions. They're swinging hammers themselves. They're not dealing with contractors to the extent it's definitely different, but it's a great business, but it's not easy. It really is not. And
no, it's brutal.
There's a lot to it. Just finding properties. This market's tough because it's just really saturated.
There's so many investors. There's so much money out there right now. They're chasing all these deals, and you almost have to pay darn near retail, and then you got to go crazy rehabbing them, which is a crapshoot, right? Like you don't know if the guy's going to rip you off. You don't know if you're going to steal. And then on the back end, it's tough, right?
It is. Now, to be fair, if you're in the market for a while, if you can find reliable people, which is not easy, it does get easier. However, getting into it especially, it is tough. And I guess one of the issues is that there's a lot of investors, but there's also newbies, and this is probably anywhere in the country. The shows, they see it. It's an easy, a quick $50,000, whatever it may be in profits. So people are buying them. They're not really buying it properly. So I'm competing against other investors, but some of them are buying it just way too high because they don't either understand the true numbers and the costs, or they're underestimating how much it's going to cost to fix it.
Totally.
And I'm not going to overpay, even though I'm tempted sometimes, because that's just a death trap. It's the worst thing.
I mean, you're so much better off to just not do a deal than you are to do the wrong deal, because you can take those. I've taken those losses. You've taken those losses. Nightmare. I've taken 6-figure losses. Bought a house, remodeled it, sell it, and lose 6. I mean, imagine that. Like we talked about that. You go to work for 6 months on something or a year, and you lose money. I mean, that's incredible, right?
It's horrible. And you do it. We were talking in the car, and honestly, not always the case, but a lot of times it's the ones that are problematic that you have to pick up the slack, that are the ones you lose money on. So not only are you working harder on that particular deal, but that's the one that's going to be the most likely where you're going to actually have to lose money on. So you're working for negative money. It's not great.
You're showing up, spending your time, effort, and energy, and you're paying other people to do this. I mean, it's an insane business. That's one of the reasons why I got it back into brokerage, is because you can waste some time and you can waste some energy, but you can't lose, really, right? Like, how do you lose, right? Like, somebody can not make a sale, somebody can not join your firm, but you can't, like, nobody's going to hit you with an invoice for $100,000, right?
Unless you're insanely overspending on leads. I mean, realistically, and gas money is, there's small losses, but not really.
Nothing
it's your
like
time
that.
For sure, but it's not like you're buying properties for triple digits and you have loans on them and you're putting your credit up. It's a whole different ballgame. The loss is very small.
But
it's less risky.
So you come from the investing world, so you're always putting hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in play, and you're eating interest on that 10-12% interest because you're not getting we're not getting banks to put the money up. You get either a partner, an investor, or hard money, private finance, and it's super expensive, right?
Absolutely.
So when I got into the retail side of it, you buy some leads, whether it be $1,000 a month, and you can make. Let's say you put $1,000 into leads, and then you make a sale and you make $6,000 or $7,000. To me, that's a great ROI. It's like 6-7 times what you put up, and you and I are used to putting up millions of dollars to make, hopefully a nice profit. But if you do 10 or 20% on your money, you're doing really well, right? If you buy a $100,000 house, you make 10, 20 grand, you're doing great, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's beyond that, it's not just the ROI, but it's the risk proposition. If you went completely belly up and you lost every dollar you put into the leads and you never closed, what are you going to lose? $1,000, whatever it may be. You can only lose 10% of your investment on a real estate, and it could be tens of thousands of dollars. So the risk proposition is really, you don't really have a lot at risk, which I love. You have a lot of effort, but to be honest, if you have a problematic property especially, with most cases, you're going to run around like crazy. I mean, it's just the reality. Not always. There's ways to minimize that, but generally, you're going to work really hard regardless. At least you're not going to lose a ton of money.
Absolutely brilliant, man. I love that. We're so like-minded in this. We're always talking about deals. I really enjoy having you on and hearing about this stuff. How did you get into this, right? Like, how do you just become a real estate rehabber? How did this happen?
Interesting. So I went to college, criminal justice major. I wanted to be a criminal lawyer, not like in law enforcement. And then I took a year off, and I was going to apply to law school after college. And I got into the mortgage business 2001. So it was way before the bust, and it was a refi boom. Rates had recently dropped. So I'm like, all right, let me get a quick buck and see how I like it. So I went to a firm. I did really well. It was like there was 40 or 50 guys on the floor, and it was like an old stock brokerage type firm. Even though it was for mortgages, it's cold calling and everything.
Yeah.
But I was young. I was like, all right, this is cool. I can make money. Second top producer.
Nice.
I ended up going with the top producer, and we got our own franchise. So maybe a year in, so I'm, I don't know, 23, 22 out of college, and I'm making a lot of money. Like,
right.
I couldn't believe
You're killing it, right?
at that time. So I'm like, maybe not go to law school. Maybe I'm probably making more money at that point in time.
Probably making more money than lawyers?
I was probably making more money than at least a lawyer who's going to start out and on a salary.
Sure.
You're not a partner in a firm, so.
But you were making partner money. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Maybe more. I mean, I was doing really. It was a really good time to be in it, and we had some good setups. But yeah, that's I stuck around in that for a while. I didn't get out because of the bust. I got out years before. I just got sick of it. It was a lot of work.
It's a grind, right?
So I sold out my position to my partner. And
nice.
Then I took some seminars and courses on real estate flipping, somewhat related. Real estate related. I was always entrepreneurial. I was never entrepreneurial growing up. I wanted to be a lawyer, make a few $100,000 maybe a year. I'm like, that's cool. And then I got into this, and it changed my mindset. The kind of money I was making at that age, I was like, I'm addicted to this. So I wanted to do something that's very profitable, maybe a little less work. At the time, it seemed like less work. So I got into it. I did it for a couple of years. And then I went onto Wall Street and traded stock.
Wow. How was that? I didn't know you did that. I knew about the mortgages, and I knew about obviously the flipping, but I didn't know you were trading.
Really tough business, but I liked it. Now I just do, I keep things for a few months, depending. I just have small investments. It takes very little of my time as a side thing, just retirement money.
But you enjoyed it.
I did.
Nice. Very good.
But it was really hard, and you need a lot of capital to flourish, and you don't really want to take much out of the account if you're accumulating money. So I was like, let me go back into the real estate investing. I was pretty successful with it.
Nice.
Then I joined a program where they train you. And I really got into it, and I stuck with it ever since.
Nice.
And I did it up in New Jersey, in the New York, New Jersey market. Then I came down here.
Nice. So are you doing a lot of direct mail, or how are you sourcing deals currently?
The key to it is marketing, like anything else.
Yep.
I haven't been really strong on that side of it.
Sure.
I get them off the MLS. I get them from wholesalers. Believe it or not, I've done really well with the MLS. It's just very, very low success rate. So I had to work really hard at it.
Write a bunch of offers, write a ton of offers.
Yep. The ones that are priced well usually go off really, really fast. I don't usually get those. I don't like them because...
Too much competition. And even if you do get it, they don't give you most of the time a due diligence period. Yeah.
I don't want to miss anything. I've had that sucks. So it really is the worst. So I'd rather go off things that have been stale, sitting on the MLS for a long time.
Nice. So beat them up.
Yeah.
We got to. Right?
More or less. Usually the price that they have, unless it just dropped really well, it's far below what the actual listed price is what I get under contract for.
Nice.
It's rare, but if you do it enough, it's a numbers game.
That's good.
You'll get it.
And you're primarily like in the Pinellas, Hillsborough area doing this?
Yes, primarily.
Awesome. So if you were to say like the thing that you need most in your business right now, it's got to be the trades, right? It's got to be rehabbers who don't lie, cheat, steal, that kind of a thing?
That and off-market leads.
Off-market deals. Cool.
Those two, but yeah.
So if there's anybody out there and you got off-market deals and you got, somebody who is a great contractor or plumber or electrician or, drywall, whatever, they could hit us up and, maybe do some business with you.
If you're a general contractor or a tradesman, yes, please. That awesome. Actually is that's what I need the most right now. The deal sourcing, I can still get by. It's what comes after I acquire the deal. That's where I still need to, I need some help there.
Okay, cool. So that's exciting. So you got a cool background. And let's talk for a minute about how we met. I think I called you, right?
Someone from your office, I don't know.
Me or somebody from my office
your marketing
called you.
Department, maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe it was Ty. Maybe Ty called you. Myself or Ty called you, probably.
I think it was actually female.
Katie? Probably Katie.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so Tire
It was a while
Katie,
ago.
yeah, okay. So somebody called you, right? Because we do a lot of that. I mean, how do you get new agents? You call them, right?
Sure.
So I think you had gotten a license, maybe like you had your license like a year or two here in Florida. And so we always call agents and we're like, hey, just want to see where you're at, how you doing, what you like, and how we can, maybe work together. So I think that's how we met, right? We rang you up and then we met. I think we met at a Starbucks in Tampa or Pinellas or something, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool.
So I guess it was Katie who called me. At the time, I had my license at a place in Miami, and I don't live nowhere near Miami, like 4 hours away. But it was 100% commission. I wasn't looking to really be an agent, but to list my own properties to save the commission, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
So I was like, who cares where they're located? I don't have to go in there ever. I've never been in that office. I'm not going 4 hours away, but I communicate with them, via email or whatever. I did a couple of my listings there. That's good. But then, I got a call from your office. I'm like, it's a lot closer. Sarasota's an hour and 20 minutes away, but I can get there. It's not a big deal. A couple days a week. I might as well consider it. Same commission, 100%. I'm like, let's talk. So then I got on the phone with you. We talked. And we talked about my business, my background, and you told me that you had a lot of resources. You flipped before, you understand the business. I can help you build the agency business, which I was interested in, and the flipping business, which I was really interested in.
Nice.
And then we met at Starbucks, and we talked for a while. I'm like, okay, you promised a lot of support. You went above and beyond. So
that's awesome. See, that's what I want to hear. So we have a compliance guy in our office, and you had a couple, when you're in flipping real estate. There's times that deals just fall apart. There's a percentage. 20% of contracts just fall apart. It just happens, whether it's a flipped house or a regular house. So recently we had a deal. You put under contract, buyer fell out, financing or whatever, and you put it back under contract. And so I think what we try to do, or what I'm trying to do for you, is let you keep your time in your deals and have Dave, our compliance guy, help you with the disclosures and all the paperwork, because there's no money to be made by doing your own paperwork, right? You're making money doing deals. So we're trying to take that kind of stuff off of agents' plates so they can be more productive. So hopefully that's been a good experience for you.
It has, and I'll tell you, I'll be very honest, I don't mind doing some paperwork. I'm not the most organized in that fashion either, just being honest. And I'm also pulled in a lot of directions, and I do a lot of things for myself.
Well, you are pulling a lot. You're selling 2 houses this month, and you got another one listed, and you're rehabbing other ones as well. Yeah,
I got one in Texas. I have 5 properties right now.
That's a lot.
2 of them are listed. 3 of them are listed. One of them is hopefully going under contract today. 2 of them are going to close this month. They're under contract.
Awesome.
Then I got a couple other things working. So I do a lot, and I'm constantly looking for properties. I'm trying to deal with project managers out in Texas, all these type of things. So
that's intense. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that comes first to me, and then the paperwork's important. Obviously, it's for compliance, but it's not my strong suit anyway. And sometimes I get lost in the shuffle, and I'm trying to go through emails, and it's hours later. I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now?
Right.
But when Dave stepped in, and I pay a small fee, which is well worth it. I'm like, all right, you know what? This is so much easier.
Yes.
I don't want to miss something and get in trouble with compliance or put you at jeopardy. And quite frankly, I do all that stuff at night, and I'm already beat up, and I'm like, I just want to go watch some TV and go to sleep or whatever. And I'm like, but I'm going to do it if I have to. So the fact that I don't really have to do much, just e-sign something.
Yes.
It gives me a little bit of time back. The little time I have to relax, which is important, it's giving me that, and it's probably getting done more efficiently because I could be more organized, but I'm not, and I'd rather have somebody else do it for me.
I think that's the case with most investors or agents, right? Your time is better spent doing deals. And we've got a compliance officer. I'm looking at all your paperwork, and it's little things, right? So you hold a real estate license. So one of the forms that you have to, that me as a flipper as well, that we have to do is we have an agent interest notice.
Yes.
And so I think most brokers don't think about this. They don't care about this. It's not even on their radar. But we want to disclose to whoever the buyer is that, hey, listen, Gary's an owner in this LLC or a partner in this deal. He has a license. It's just a disclosure thing, right? In case something were to break or have a problem, we don't want people coming back be like, oh, this guy was the realtor and he didn't tell. So little things like that we try to go over and above with disclosure to keep everything on the up and up, right?
Yeah, which I'm 100% on board. I believe in it. Awesome. I even tell everybody, I'm the agent, but I'm also I have a partner. We're the sellers in this, just to let you know up front. And then I spin it. I'm like, but the good thing is we can make a faster decision. I go to my partner, I get back to you. It's really our decision. It's nobody. We're not representing somebody.
That's awesome.
But I also just let them know. However, you have to have it in writing. And it's the small little. I don't miss the important things usually, but it's the little things that are also important. But they're small details like a disclosure or usually it's a signature. Just one thing. And obviously compliance is important. You have to have everything done properly. But those little things that I miss, and like a month later, I'm getting the email, this thing's going to close, but this is not here. You have to sign it, and then I have to scramble, and then I either have to just put it off even longer or stop doing something that's really important to do it because I should have done it a month ago.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, that's where it helps a lot to have somebody else doing it for me.
That's good.
Or at least
well, I'm glad that the compliance is helping and the paperwork. That's good. I'm glad that we're working in the right direction. So, I would ask you one final question. So we're going to do another segment, but on the investment side of things, I would ask you one tip to give agents, brokers, investors, whoever that are looking to get into this business. Give them your best tip on what is the most important part of what you're doing as an investor?
Education.
Love it. Find
somebody that can mentor you. There's programs. Fortune Builders it's the one I belong to. They're expensive. I don't know exactly what their current rates are. I joined them in 2015. But somebody like them, they're well worth it. You have to get education on this. You have to learn. And they'll help you with everything. Even with the education, it's still really tough. You have to have good support. Partners if you need the capital or just to spread your risk. Down here I only work with partners because I'm concerned about if I take a loss because of the, some of the contractor situations, I spread it all. It helps me. So having good people around you, but definitely the education and the support, a coach, somebody that you can go to, real estate agents that know what they're doing and they understand investors and they're willing to put the offers in is essential. So there's a lot of components, but the education covers all that. You get educated, they'll teach you how to do those things, or at least who to look for, who to work with. And then from there, everything else that they teach you, it's important to implement those things because there's a lot to this business. It's not that easy.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. Education. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Financial education within the business, education from somebody. Do you work as like a mentor to other, wannabe investors at all? Do you ever do that?
I do have one guy, Josh. I don't know where he got me from, but he called me one day, and he's not too far. He's up a little bit north of me.
Nice.
I don't know, one of the counties up above Tampa. He's like, listen, I'm trying to be a wholesaler. I'm trying to get in the business. Can you help me out? I'm like, so he talked to me for a few minutes. I'm like, I'll meet with you, man. I appreciate you just calling me. You're aggressive. And he's been working with me a little bit. I'm teaching him how to find deals. I said, listen, you send me a deal, I'll buy it from you. You have an instant, commission from it, markup. Great. If you don't want to use me or I can't buy it, I'll help you anyway. I never really mentored anybody, but I have enough knowledge. I don't want to do it as a full-time thing or get paid for it. But there's some people who really, they show that they care about it.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, the guy who's in a rough spot anyway, and he really wants this, and he really can't afford education right now, although he looked into it. So I help him. I mean, I'm not really qualified to be a mentor. I don't have a lesson plan or anything, but I can give enough knowledge.
Yeah, street smart still.
Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can tell him all the things not to do. But I let him tag along with me on some things as well, and nice. he gets real life exposure, which I think is huge.
Nothing more important.
And I met with him. He found some clients, and the deals didn't work out. But I'm like, if I get the deal, I'll give him a piece, and he'll see how it's done. And that's obviously somebody you can shadow is another component of education.
I think that's huge. I had good mentors coming up. It sounds like you did as well, and now you're doing that. You're paying that forward, right?
Yeah,
I like that. That's awesome. Well, Gary, you are a wealth of knowledge on all things investing. If there are agents out there who are with Trend or with other companies and they want to get a hold of you, we'll tag some of your information here in the video. And I really appreciate you coming in, man.
Absolutely.
This was awesome. Super fun. You're a master at this stuff. Like I said, you got 2 under contract right now, another one listed, 2 more under construction. I mean, you're a killer, man. I see you do this stuff, and I'm super impressed. Trend loves having you. I'm super appreciative of you being a trender, and it's been fun.
Anybody looking to get into the agency side, definitely look at Trend. The support is amazing. Josh is amazing.
You're the man, Gary. Thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, bud.